absolute ruler, though he wielded his power with moderation. In this way, he managed to impose the Pax Romana on a territory larger than today's European Union. But the symbols of his power did not share such a glorious fate. The mausoleum was destined to become a hill-like mound, despoiled and carved up. The sundial only worked for a few decades, and then its Norman obelisk crashed to the ground. The Ara Pacis began to sink into the earth, and in the end it disappeared altogether and was forgotten for hundreds of years. Until, at the dawn of the Renaissance, Rome began to value its noble past once more. The Ara Pacis too started to re-emerge in the form of large unidentified fragments, bought and sold by the new world leaders, ambassadors and cardinals, popes and grand dukes. The period of the diaspora began. The larger fragments were taken to Villa Medici on the Pincian Hill, and thereafter most ended up in the Uffizi. One large panel remained in Rome, in the Vatican. Other smaller pieces were bought for private collections and journeys to Paris and Vienna. They were only recognised as part of a single, once famous altar at the end of the 19th century, thanks to the passionate interest of a 28-year-old German archaeologist, Frederick von Doom. Fate plays games with men and their gods. The altar dedicated to peace was recovered and reassembled together during the most tragic and blood-torn century in Western history. In 1903, the Italian Angelo Pasqui and the German Eugen Petersen recovered important fragments from 7 meters below street level, before succumbing to the water flooding the excavation site and threatening the stability of the building constructed above the altar. Not until the 1930s was salvage work taken up again, adopting the technique of freezing the ground to be excavated with liquid nitrogen. And finally, at the Museo delle Terme, the Ara Pacis was put on show to those newly in power by a man who considered himself to be the heir to the first emperor. To underline the idea of the Second Empire, Mussolini had the Ara Pacis reconstructed next to Augustus's tomb, precisely in time to celebrate the 2000th birthday of the first emperor. And on September the 23rd, 1938, the Ara Pacis was inaugurated a second time. The intention was that this covering should only be provisional, but the outbreak of the Second World War meant that it was never replaced. And when the world reawoke to the new economic boom, the variations in ambient temperature and atmospheric pollution started to seriously threaten the altar. In 1996, the architect Richard Meyer was asked to design a new museum, which, since 2006, has maintained the Ara at a constant temperature and humidity.